And welcome, everyone. You're listening to iTalk 106.7 FM, the voice of the mountain. I'm your host, Janine Ford. So glad you're rolling with us this afternoon. I have a great show for you. We are really thrilled to have all these great people on the phone and in studio, and we're discussing the attack of the wind turbines and solar fields in our White Mountains and how it seems like no one's protecting us from these, and they're just rolling in. And there are some very deep concerns from ranchers, farmers, locals, all of them. And the one gal that put this all together for me, I've got Donna Waschek here. And Donna, thank you so much for putting this all together.
You're welcome. My pleasure. I'm glad to help, and I'm concerned as well. So it was easy.
Shed some light on this, yes.
My gosh.
And tell me about our three guests on the phone.
So we have Leon Heward. Sorry, I think of him as Seward, Alaska. That's how I remember his name. He's from Woodruff, and I met him via Mr. Black. Robert Black is a Holbrook Town Council member and also has been in the Holbrook area for a long time. And then I have Casey Murph, and he's from Perkins Valley, and that is an area, I think, northwest of Holbrook. I've not even really heard too much about it, but a long time, I think 5 or 6 generation rancher cattle.
Wow. Okay. So we have Casey Murph, Robert Black, and Leon Heward. And thank you so much, guys, for being on the phone. How are you doing today? I'll yell out great.
Hey, very well. Great.
Okay, awesome. Okay, yesterday or this last week, I had Congressman Biggs on, and we were talking about food security in Arizona, and he said he's deeply worried about, our ranches and a lot of this stuff, and he's really upset over the wind turbines, and he's trying to find out if some of that latest thing by Trump to try to stop them and slow them right now includes our projects. And he hasn't had an answer yet. But we were talking about food security and food insecurity, and it's terrifying that we are running out of mama cows, and all of these things are being put in. Casey, let's start off with you.
Okay.
What are your biggest concerns about the wind and the solar?
Okay, well, I'm a cattle rancher here, and I'm not a big operation. I do rely on a lot of state land. It's called an allotment that I lease from the state of Arizona in order to provide enough forage for my cows. Right. And since 2022, I've been just getting bombarded with applications going into the state from renewable companies, solar companies, trying to have my state sections within my allotment transferred over to them to put a solar farm on.
Oh,
and
wow.
It's just never ending. And, if this happens, it puts me out of business here, because it basically takes away all my winter range and turns me into an operation that I can't sustain.
Shuts you down pretty much. Now, I want to ask you, have you heard of other ranchers that have lost their leases of state land over this?
Yes, there are some ranchers near me, and they're actually relatives of mine near Joseph City, who were thrown off of their state leases for the Hash Knife solar farm.
Oh.
And it devastated them. They're like me. Their families have been here ranching since before statehood, and just with a wave of someone's hand, they were forced out.
Wow. And that's just terrifying. So, folks, that's the big thing. Our ranchers are getting thrown off their state leases over wind turbines and solar fields, and you can't graze. Let me talk to. Let's go down to Leon. Leon, you can't be grazing cattle under those solar fields, right?
Correct.
Yeah, they're too. Go ahead.
They're too close together, and I mean they just basically block you out of that whole section or sections. I guess is probably a better way of saying that. So it's a really hard thing for the ranchers and the local people that are trying to keep us fed through the hard times. And if they don't have somewhere to run their cattle and feed them, then they're forced to purchase hay and that kind of stuff, and that's a real cost not cost effective for them as ranchers.
Yeah, see, that's a scary part, and that's what Andy Biggs was talking about, food insecurity, and how we're going to face something like that. We've got to get with it. We need to turn this tide. And Robert Black, you are the one that I saw. You were holding up a lovely colored sample of water. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me about that.
Well, what's happening around here is it's got all our people, a lot of our people up in arms, because the solar farms are just west of us out there, and they're doing all that construction out at West Camp and whatnot. And when the wind blows, it blows that dirt all over us. And we got to noticing around here that all the cattle drinkers and everything have this petroleum film on them. And we couldn't figure out what was going on. And I'm getting that water tested as we speak. I don't have the results on it yet. And it's not just one cattle drinker. It's most of them in that area. And you can watch when the wind comes up. I've got pictures of it, that it just blows that stuff all over us. Now, it's not only in our water. That stuff's landing in the grass fields and the hay fields that's around here also. So definitely not good for our area.
Oh, that's horrible. I hope that someone is getting in touch with the EPA and just screaming up and down. And the thing that is scary to me is how the greenie people that are really, really environmentalists, and I'm kind of an environmentalist, totally in my core. These are filthy. They are not they're anything but clean. I mean, in the 110 gallons of crude that's coursing through them constantly, it has to be changed. They all leak onto the ground. I mean, all these things wouldn't be allowed, anywhere else, right?
That's correct.
I have a comment, actually. It's kind of interesting what state land is. Do you know what it is, Janine? I mean,
isn't it supposed to be ours?
Well, yes, it is. I think it was established in around a statehood time. And if you look on a map, and Mr. Black actually has a really good map that shows where the West Camp 2 is supposed to be going in and where the existing farms are, solar and wind. But it's essentially land that was assigned to the state to be used to benefit schools, and primarily. So if you go onto the Arizona State Land Department website, if you just Google that, it explains how, who, what can have that land, use that land, and it's somewhat of a bidding system, I believe. And was it Casey? I think you were explaining.
We're not being able to hear her, Judy.
Oh, you can't hear her. Okay.
No.
Okay, now go ahead. She was saying it's sort of a bidding system for that state land. Is that correct, Casey?
Yeah. The way that the state constitution is with state land is the state is required to try to get the most that they can possibly get financially from their parcels. And so that puts me in a spot here, because the state is allowed by the Constitution to evict a rancher like me. The problem is, though, most of the time, in the past anyway, the state has tried to be kind of responsive to the concerns of people who have state leases and have tried to mitigate things like that. And when things like this come up, they try to direct them toward areas where there's not going to be a conflict and put a rancher out of business whenever they can. And the state does have the option to be able to do that in this situation. If they want to, they could deny this. They could ask the company Orsted to look at other places where maybe there's not any grazing leases. As I understand, there's hundreds of thousands of acres within Arizona that's in that real poor country to the south where there aren't any grazing leases at all.
Well, yeah, and see, they need to look at some of that. And the other thing that is traumatizing to my brain is that for our state lands, once they drop these tumors into the ground and you have 4,000 tons buried for time and all eternity under every one of these, rusting rebar, steel, the concrete with all the lime, over our Coconino Aquifer also. I mean, it's horrifying. 4,000 tons under each one of these, and all they're going to do is rub a little dirt over the top of it. I guess they put 2 to 3 feet of dirt over the top. They never dig them out. And it's just horrifying that they would do that to our state lands. And let's talk about we're going to keep this going, but I'm going to take a short break, and we're going to come back and talk about more about these windmills and the solar fields and how people can help and get involved. Guys, hang with me. And guys, keep it right here. You're listening to iTalk 106.7 FM, the voice of the mountain.